I am recording a series of videos about the history of tango, its origin, development, and diffusion. In the last video, we talked about the late 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, discussing the emergence of tango as a dance and as music. Today, we will continue this journey, exploring how tango consolidated itself in the early 20th century. Before we dive into the main topic, I would like to invite you to check out my course Connected Tango. This course focuses on deepening your understanding of tango, emphasizing technique, musicality, and connection to the floor, from the basics to advanced concepts. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced dancer, this course will transform your dance and enrich your tango experience. The course is entirely online, allowing you to learn at your own pace. Visit the link in the description to learn more and join the Connected Tango community. In the previous video, we saw that tango was born in the suburbs of Buenos Aires, in areas like La Boca, San Telmo, and Montserrat, which were port and peripheral regions. At that time, formal dances did not exist because it was frowned upon for women to go out at night to dance. The concept of dance events, as we know them today, only emerged decades later. Thus, tango began to be danced in brothels and cabarets, especially around the port docks. Italian immigrants brought their instruments and musical skills, creating music to accompany this emerging dance. A significant milestone was the publication of the first tango sheet music, Entre Riano, composed by Rosendo Mendizábal, an Afro-Rioplatense musician. It was the first time that tango was recorded on paper, establishing a foundation for the tangos that followed. In the early 20th century, Buenos Aires welcomed many immigrants and migrants from rural areas, forming a cultural melting pot that influenced tango. Besides the Italian musicians, the pajadores, rural musicians who brought their traditions with guitars and folk songs, also contributed to the formation of tango. Among the pajadores, Angel Villoldo stands out as a composer and guitarist who created several famous tangos, such as El Choclo and La Morocha, both of which became major hits. During this period, there was an important change in the instrumental formation of tango ensembles. Until the late 19th century, tango music was played with violin, flute, and guitar. In the early 20th century, the bandoneon was incorporated, transforming the sound of the first tango groups. The tango dance expanded in the conventillos, tenement houses where immigrants and rural people lived in precarious conditions. These places had courtyards where on weekends people gathered to play music and dance. They played waltzes, zambas, and polkas, and gradually, tango began to be danced as well. However, tango was initially associated with brothels and had a negative reputation. It took time to break this cultural barrier for tango to be accepted in the conventillos. One factor that boosted tango was Argentina's cultural exchange with Europe. Interestingly, brothels were also frequented by young men from the upper class of Buenos Aires, known as niños bien. These young men learned to dance tango in brothels and, when they traveled to Europe, took the dance to cabarets in cities like Paris. Tango became a hit among Europeans, admired even by royal families and presented at prestigious events. This international recognition changed the perception of tango in Argentina itself. When the Argentine upper class realized that tango was appreciated in Europe, they began to adopt the dance. This created a cultural feedback loop. Tango, once marginalized, began to be accepted by the middle and upper classes. With this popularization, the first organized tango ensembles, known as typical orchestras, emerged to meet the growing demand at social events, such as birthday parties and inaugurations. Among the first typical orchestras, we highlight Vicente Greco, Juan Maglio, known as Pacho, and Roberto Firpo. Firpo was responsible for introducing the piano to tango ensembles, adding more depth to the music. Later, Francisco Canaro introduced the double bass, consolidating the classic formation of tango orchestras. Thus, by the end of the 1910s, tango was widely spread and accepted by all social classes in Argentina. From a marginalized dance in brothels, it became the dance of the moment, with typical orchestras playing at various events across society. To conclude, I want to play a recording from that era for you, so you can hear what tango sounded like in its early days. In upcoming videos, I will explain how this sound evolved into the tango we know today. Thank you very much for staying with me. Listen to the tango and discover its roots.
Yo soy la